Hello, welcome to a pre-filmed video because I don't want to give myself too much work to do whilst I'm in LA. First big trip with the Stoma bag, me and Mona going off on our holidays together. So to make things a bit easier on myself, I'm going to do a Q&A. Now, normally I ask for questions on Twitter, but I thought, hey, let's spice things up a bit and ask for questions on Instagram. Oh, wow. There's like over 600 questions. So, definitely not going to be able to answer all of them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to answer the questions that have the most likes, and what I take from that is that other people were like, yes, I would also like to know the answer to that. But hey, Instagram, you guys turned up, so thank you, and maybe there'll be more Q&As from Instagram in the future. Okay, so let's jump straight into this. Megan Crofts asks, how do you cope with finding the balance between wanting to get good grades and not letting your education/grades harm your mental well-being? I think this is a really good question and is relevant for people studying for exams, whether that's school, uni, but also career stuff as well once you're in the workplace. Finding that balance between your ambition and wanting to succeed, but also taking care of your mental health is so important. So this is something that works for me, and you might want to try it and see if it works for you, but it's basically about having other people around you who are either doing the same thing as you, which if you're in school or at uni, there's loads of them, or if you don't have that structured learning environment, finding friends to kind of hold you accountable and to maybe do like study or work parties. So you're getting the studying done, but because there's that social element of it, it's not as debilitating to your mental health. You're maybe having to leave the house and go outside and actually talk to another person, which sounds like small things, but when you're studying for like long periods of time and stressing, that can really, really help. It also helps to have other people make you accountable for taking breaks. I cannot stress enough how important taking breaks are. When I was in school and we had study leave for our exams, I would teach myself a new skill. So my breaks were comprised of still doing something and keeping my brain active, but doing something completely separate from what the work was. So I learned how to knit, I learned how to do a Rubik's Cube, I learned how to juggle, and I learned how to play guitar. Like, I'm not very good at any of these things by all means, but it just gave me something to do and something to look forward to in terms of having a break, and I would do that for like 15 minutes or half an hour and then get back to studying. I've realised I've talked for ages and this is the first question, but I really do have lots of ideas about this. I don't know whether you guys would want a whole video on this topic because I know that most of my viewers are now older, so we're not like in uni or studying for many exams. Let me know if that kind of stuff is something that you'd still like to watch. Rosie B asks, bit of an odd one, but have you ever felt less worthy to be somewhere/be part of a conversation because of your height? I'm 4'11" and find it hard to be taken seriously/feel like I don't belong. That's really hard, and to some extent, yes. I'm 5 foot, but I've also always been quite loud and quite confident, and so often people forget how short I am. The only times that I've really felt left out, and the people doing this, I don't think they realise that they're doing this, they just happen to be tall, and I'll be like standing in a conversation with people and the conversation will just be happening over me and I can't get into that conversation and I just don't feel a part of it at all. It's annoying. You kind of do have to overcompensate by being a bit louder. If the conversation is happening up here, you need to be a bit louder so people will kind of include you in the conversation. Or wear heels a lot. If there are chairs, like stools, I often like sit on a stool whilst people are standing up around me. That gives me a bit more height. So many practical tips for shorties. Yay. Panda Wannabe asks, how do you feel about your body post-surgery? You lost an unhealthy amount of weight, but with societal pressure to be skinny, was there a part of you that felt good about having lost some of that weight? Really interesting question. So if you've only been following me recently, like over a year ago, I came off the pill. Coming off the pill made me gain loads of weight. And I wasn't an unhealthy weight before or after, by no means. I just have a very large spectrum of like healthy weight. I think most people do. So I'd gained all of this weight and I was at the heaviest I've ever been, and then I got really ill and lost loads of weight. I'm pretty sure I've been healthy and been at that low weight before, but it just felt so different. Like I know that was unhealthy for me because I'd been so sick and I hadn't been eating. But I've now gained back loads of that weight that I've lost, and I'm now actually sitting somewhere in the middle between where I was pre-coming off the pill and before getting ill. I don't know if I'll continue to gain weight, but I'm happy with this. I'd be happy if I was, the same way I was before, but I definitely think there is that pressure. Like, I went to see a dietitian and I'd gained back some of the weight, but I wasn't quite happy with how healthy looking I was, and the dietitian was like, so your BMI is healthy, so like you don't want to be gaining any more weight, do you? And I was like, oh. But yeah, I seem to have gained back the weight pretty quickly, and I'm very happy with that. The annoying thing though about being somewhere in the middle of my two extreme weights is that none of my bras and bikinis fit me, so I've had to fork out a lot of money on getting new ones. Yay! TC versus the World asks, advice for young feminists who get abuse for being such, and feeling angry but also feeling trapped because you don't want to prove the stereotypes right. First of all, it's okay to be angry. The world is screwed up. Sexism and racism and homophobia, we're allowed to be angry about it because it is infuriating. I'm sorry that you experience abuse for being a feminist, and sometimes it's not always enough just to know that like you're on the right side of history, but as you get older you'll find more and more like-minded people to surround yourself with, so you feel less alone and you can create support groups in order to handle some of that abuse. My friend Holly, who's an author, gave an amazing answer to this question at one of her book events that I was interviewing her for, and I can't for the life of me remember, and it's really pissing me off. I will message her and I'll get back to you. Nat Crook asks, were you nervous the first time having sex again with a stoma, or were you excited for a new adventure? Yes, I was excited to be having sex again because it had been so long. But to be honest, I wasn't frustrated at all because I was too busy like being ill and recovering from surgery that was like the last thing that was on my mind. I was nervous, but not necessarily nervous because of the stoma bag. I kind of knew how to manage that. It was more the fact that I was still so physically weak, and I am now, so it's more of a like, be careful with my body, and I can't like move into certain positions and I'm not very strong. So I was more nervous about the physical activity than the stoma bag getting in the way. Extra Idiot asks, has having a stoma affected your YouTube? Like subscribers gone up/down correlates with stoma vids? It definitely has affected it. And in a positive way. I was really nervous having not made a video or like done anything on social media for weeks and weeks that, everyone would forget you, you'd come back and like half the subscribers would like unsubscribe and no one's watching your videos anymore because they forget about you. Yes, all of that was going through my mind. But it turns out people are really curious about stuff that they have no idea about and weird medical body things. Everyone's so curious because no one talks about this. Are there things you can't do anymore now that you have a stoma? Yes, I can't poo or fart out of my bumhole. What advice would you give to someone who would like to explore their sexuality but don't have the chance to? I'm assuming you mean you don't have the chance to explore it with other people, because then in that case you can explore it by yourself. With or without porn, up to you. It can be a great tool for exploring your sexuality and figuring out what you like, but not having a sexual partner definitely isn't a barrier to exploring your sexuality. Lots of ways that you can do that by yourself. Daphne CP asks, would you recommend history at uni? I'm choosing my A-level options and part of me really wants to keep doing history, but I feel like 3 essay-based subjects would be too much. I studied history at uni, so of course I would recommend you studying history at uni. It's amazing. I loved it. But you are not the same as me. Doing 3 essay subjects for A-level, if you like them all and you are good at time management, then I don't see any problem with that. Loads of people will do like 3 science-based subjects or 3 essay-based subjects. That doesn't necessarily hold them back. And actually the skills that you learn in each of those classes can be fed into each other if the essay styles are kind of similar. For my A-levels, I did history, French, politics, and maths. So there were like 3 essay-based subjects in there. And I was fine. Up to you, but yes, I would recommend doing history at uni. And if you want to do history at uni, you kind of need the A-level. Frankie Millard asks, how have you adjusted your diet with your stoma? This is something I'm still personally struggling with. Initially, I followed all of the doctors and nurses' instructions and had a very strict, low fibre diet. So basically I was just eating carbs and meat, just a lot of stodge, but to be honest, that is like my favourite diet. My parents were kind of laughing at the situation because my whole life that has been my favourite food and I don't like eating my vegetables. Even as a 26-year-old adult, I'm like, what do you mean? I can just eat potatoes and meat? Yay! But now I'm kind of eating everything again, and actually it made me miss vegetables. It made me miss having greens. Your food just looks better with a bit of more colour in it. The way that I did it was just what my Stoma nurse recommended. So I would have a very small portion of, let's say, really cooked broccoli, so it was very soft. And then I would like wait 24 hours and see if it all came out all good and I had no problems, and then I would have something else, and then I would have something else. I'm completely avoiding dried fruit and nuts though, because I do not want any blockages. But yeah, I hope that you can figure out your diet soon. I would just recommend talking to your IBD nurse or your Stoma nurse. Extra Idiot, again, asks, the summer and beach. How would you feel about chilling on the beach in a bikini with it? And does it affect you going into water? So it doesn't affect me going into water. I can do that. I just have to put a little sticker thing over a filter. I've not done it yet. Maybe by the time you're watching this, I have, and you should go on my Instagram and I'm sure there's loads of Stoma bikini pictures. I feel okay about chilling out in a bikini with the Stoma. I've kind of got a variety of swimwear, so I've got like normal bikini, high-waisted, and like full swimming costume, because right now I don't know how I'll feel in that moment, so we've got options. The other thing is that I am an SPF 15 kind of gal, and that will be no more because I kind of have to put factor 50 on my scar because you do not want that burning. But yeah, so the main thing I'm worried about is actually having the scar out in the open, and then the other thing I'm really sad about is that I'm going to forever have like a really weird circular tan line where the adhesive of the Stoma bag is on. Just never gonna get tanned there again. Bradley Watts asks, from one Harry Potter fan to the next, which Harry Potter book is your personal favourite and why? I think my personal favourite, I have not reread them in years, but it's The Order of the Phoenix. For me, it was the one that just like stepped up the stakes and the story. I loved the backstory of like learning about the Order and the dark times when Lord Voldemort was at his highest power and stuff like that. It's also like the biggest books. There's just like so much good stuff in there. I've not reread them, so maybe I have a new favourite now, but when I was reading them, like Order of the Phoenix, I just remember being blown away when I read that. Bumbling Liss says, got any advice for dropping all the shit in life and starting again in a new place? I have zero advice for that because I've never done it. Have no idea how to do it, and the idea of doing it terrifies me. But if your gut is telling you run away, then maybe do it. Or maybe think about what is it about your current life that you don't like so much, and rather than running away from your problems, try and fix them. If you just want a new start and try something new, it doesn't have to be forever. You can just like go and live somewhere new for like 6 months or a year. Let me know how it goes. Tatiana Celia asks, you sometimes talk about an operation to reverse the stoma. Why would you or would you not do that? Are there health risks? So yes, it is called J-pouch surgery, and there are health risks. Basically, once they kind of connect you all back up, there is a chance that you can get inflammation, and I would have colitis again, basically. Also, if I have pouch surgery, then I can't get pregnant, or I would find it really difficult to get pregnant or something. So I'm not even making any decisions about having that surgery until after children. It's not even on my mind. Just not in a rush to get back on the operating table. No, thank you. Nemstagram asks, what's it like not doing a 9-to-5 job? Do you think you would prefer it? I love not having a 9-to-5. I like being in control of my timetable and my week, all of that good stuff. It allows for a lot more flexibility. That being said, I still do a 9-to-5. Like, I just go sit at my kitchen table and work, except I'm doing it on my own and not with colleagues. It's kind of sad. I think for a short period of time I would like a 9-to-5. I did have one for a bit that was part-time, so it was 2 days a week. I enjoy the office vibes. I enjoy actually guaranteeing seeing other people. Being freelance, you're just accountable for yourself, and you know, if you lie in bed for ages or like don't do the work, like, are you gonna tell yourself off? It's a lot easier to get stuff done if you've got someone else who will tell you off. But I really do love the flexibility of being freelance, even though I create my own structure. It's like flexible structure. All right, there are so many more questions and it is impossible for me to get round to them all, but I hope that you enjoyed this and maybe I answered something that you were interested in, but we'll do more of these because it seems like you guys want to know a lot of stuff. So thank you for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I have a question for you for the comments, which goes back to one of those earlier questions. How do you deal with abuse if you are a feminist and you're getting abused for the simple act of being a feminist? What do you do? Maybe we can all kind of create a nice little support group and help each other out. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload new videos, and I'll see you soon. Bye!